Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast, a fan podcast dedicated to Manchester United Football Club. I hope everyone has been enjoying their week. It is the middle of the week, a late Wednesday night, preparing this episode of the podcast, but I hope everyone has been enjoying their week. We're only about 2 days away from the weekend. Before we continue on, like, subscribe, follow, and leave a comment, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, and on X, RD Corner Kick Podcast, and then TikTok and Instagram at the Red Devils Corner Kick Pod. It's going to be a short episode on the podcast because as much as I was getting everything prepared and seeing everything for today, not much has really changed, just speculations and updates on potential targets. More on the front with Jadon Sancho. Garnacho is still about the same. Rasmus Højlund seems to be the one that's going on. It's amazing how I'm just reading a few articles as I was preparing for the episode. The so-called bomb squad that they referred as Malacia, Rashford, Antony, Sancho, Garnacho has been difficult to move, and that we're having better time of a player that we really don't want to go. But Højlund is kind of a casualty of all of this, to say the least. Isco is aiming to be our new striker for the future. Obviously, things didn't work out well with Højlund. I know I've expressed my feelings of Højlund on this episode, or on this podcast, sorry. Like I said, last year he may have struggled, but let's be fair, so did the whole squad. As much as you want to see the stats of Garnacho and Bruno and Ahmad, the whole team wasn't great. Even Rashford wasn't the best. So we definitely had our struggles last year. So to say the least, it's tough to have this player go because you want to keep depth. Plus, with the injuries of like Xerxes had some injuries. Cheeto Obi is still young, so he's going to take time to develop. So it's a matter of just trying to get things going. Hopefully that Mount can stay healthy, Bruno can stay healthy, Mainu, Ahmad can stay healthy, Cunha and Buemo. Just hope that they all can just stay healthy. I know we're playing less football. We're basically playing once a week. We will have we'll have our domestic cup games with the Carswell Cup for us on the 27th against Grimsby Town coming up. So the occasional time we'll have a game in between, but we're playing less football. There's no European football. There's nothing there for us, just Prem and the domestic trophies. So Højlund definitely will need some time. Højlund may not get time because of the depth that he's facing against. If we went out on loan and we somehow were able to get European football or, Champions League or anything, he could potentially come back. But Højlund, from what it's been reported from news outlets, from fan outlets, that Højlund is possibly on his way out. Now he's doing a job trying to make things work to get himself going. There's been reports with what he wants is a potential permanent deal. I know a lot of people are probably upset because he's trying to dictate what he wants, but I understand if he's done at United, he's going to work on a permanent deal where he stays at the club, or a loan where he comes back. But when he comes back, he doesn't end up like the players that have been exiled from the first team squad to play. He wants to make sure that he doesn't receive that same treatment. Ruben has expressed his feelings of how he likes Højlund, but in the end here, with everything going on and the lack of movement with Garnacho, Sancho, Antony, and Malacia, Rasmus is kind of being forced and being that player that has to get sold. It was kind of like Scott McTominay last year. He wasn't being forced, but unfortunately he was, and we had to sell him. If we don't sell him, we don't get Manuel Ugarte. So, it was between him and Casemiro wasn't willing to move. So, unfortunately, McTominay has to go. Same with Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka's time was moved on. Wan-Bissaka needed more minutes. he needed time. Like he wanted to be more of a starter role, and between him and Delo, there was that issue there, and we wanted Maz to come in, so we had that going on. And plus the deal that we got with the Lit and Maz coming here, it was great because we needed more of a center back. But in the end, like the four players, like as much as we're hearing that Sancho, it sounds like Sancho's inching closer. Roma has now come out saying that they want to pay the salary, but apparently what's been coming out is it hasn't really been much of Jadon Sancho being what's the issue. It's been his agent that's been reported that has been demanding a high commission. So that is also particular as well. So if Sancho's wanting to play ball and none of these teams are willing to pay the high agent fee, that can also delay it too. So that's what it is. But Roma, apparently the Roma deal is trying to work out as best as it can. It's just because of the agent's commission, apparently. Allegedly. We don't, this is one news outlet that's reporting it. We haven't heard much of anything else since. Garnacho, again, he says he's not afraid to stay at the club and not play soccer. Or football, my apologies. That's his choice. I think I talked a little bit yesterday. If he's not afraid to leave, okay, go ahead, sit around for 12 months. Like, what do you want to look at here? Like, what do you want from Manchester United? You think you have all the cards? You don't. You're not in control in this situation. You're not making anything in the best situation here, despite everything that has been going on. Højlund, who is kind of being that casualty being forced out, has acted more professionally than him, Antony, and Sancho. He has. He has an urge to stay. He also wants to play and fight. But unfortunately, we're in this situation where it's not working. Like, they're trying to get their player power in to get something there. The one thing with Sancho is, or no, sorry, not Sancho, Garnacho. Garnacho's not going to, if he wants to keep this up great, he's going to miss out on the World Cup. He is. Argentina's not going to choose him if he's not playing. Argentina's not going to choose him, and that's the attitude that's going to be there. Messi's the captain. You think Messi's going to want that attitude on the squad? No. Messi won't want that. What has happened, it's a shame what's happened. He is young, he is talented, but unfortunately, this is the situation there. I do apologize if this sounds more of a repeat from some of last night's episode. But realistically, that's what's been going on since yesterday. There has been progression, but at the same time, too, there's also been a roadblock of everything going on. Malacia, there's nothing new. More of an update. More of this episode is just seeing the update of Højlund, which, again, a lot of the fan base doesn't want him to go. So, and I get why some club, again, the Byron thing is still shocking to a lot of people. But he wants to go and play for Chelsea. He wants to stay in the Prem. Chelsea don't value him. They want to make a profit off of him in a couple of years. Unfortunately, they don't want to pay what we want him to be paid. So he has to stay. Plus, his attitude is lowering it as well. So he's not afraid to stay. But in a year, I believe he's signed until 2027 too. So he can sit there for 2 years. He can. Sit there for 2 years, get paid, don't play soccer. Nobody's going to come and get you. The national team's not going to take you. You lost out on growing your game because you thought you were something that you're not. In the words of Sir Alex, nobody is bigger than the club. It's the truth. Nobody is bigger than this club. But yeah, that's basically what's been going on with that over the last 24 hours. The positive is we are now looking at other targets. I wouldn't say that's a positive. How can I say this? Right now, Man United is at a standstill. That's basically it. We're at a standstill with transfers. We can't move those players that we want to be moved and that are not willing to move. We are at a standstill because we have targets that we want to get. The Baliba deal was gone. Again, At the end of the day, and I posted this on my X account, I am so thrilled that we didn't go through that deal. 120 million, like I think it was 120 million or 120 million euros was allegedly what they were wanting, and Man United apparently put in one for like 60 or something, half of what that's there. And you can talk about the news of Believer being unhappy because they're charging so much and yada yada yada, but at the end of the day, I'm happy that this club saved 120 million euros. But they are looking at other players. They're looking at affordable options. Again, Wharton is still in discussion. They're looking at Real Madrid's Camavinga. He's apparently in a target as well. They're looking at other players. The Marseille midfielder apparently is being offered to United. Yeah, a lot of fans don't want that. And again, the Donnarumma, the Diego Costa, a lot of people are pushing for that. But right now it's just a standstill. It's not happening. The one thing about Højlund is, sorry, I forgot to mention, obviously AC Milan is off. There's talks about him returning to Atalanta, and Napoli are in the mix too. So those are what's happening right there. So yeah, Eduardo Camavinga is apparently a target for United. 69 million pounds to bid for the 22-year-old. We'll see there. Again, we have to raise funds. We have to sell to buy, and unfortunately the players that we want to sell will not be potentially going. Like it stated earlier, again, Sancho's willing to stay at Old Trafford. He said, this is according to The Sun, Garnacho isn't fazed by the prospect of rotting on the sidelines if he doesn't seal a move away from Manchester United. This is according to Fabrizio Romano, who said, from what I'm hearing, either he goes to Chelsea or he stays at Manchester United out of the squad. That's up to him. He didn't have the best Prem last year, but like overall he had a decent season. But at the same time too, it's not about his stats. It's just about how he's acting. That's the thing. Yes, and I just talked about Wharton. So yeah, we don't know what's going on. So it's tough when we see this. It is, because again, we're at a standstill. We have targets. We want players that we want to go after. There's a lot of potential there, but we're at a standstill. Like United are handcuffed with everything going on. They can't make a move. We're at an impasse. I think I can use a bunch of different verbs to describe this, but unfortunately, I can use a bunch of words just to describe the situation here. Imbalance, hit against the wall. I'm not going to keep repeating it, but there's not much there. And yeah, we have to sell. We're at a standpoint where they have to start selling players. And listen, they can hold their ground again. 7 p.m. I think British Standard Time on September the 1st is when it's kaputzi, when it's done, the transfer window. So it's there. It's tough to say. It really is. It's hard to see your squad like this. There's not much you can do. Like you can go around and say, hey, here we are, but at the same time too, like you want it to get better. But like I said last night's episode, it's a lot of the stuff is getting pushed more and more due to the fallout of the loss against Roma, or not against Roma, against Arsenal. Kind of forgot who we played on Sunday. I'm so sorry, but realistically, how far do you want to go? We have two, like I said last night, and it's going to be a repeat again. I don't want this club to rush in and we screw something up. I don't want them to overpay for a target. I want them to either get it right or get them get a target at a lower offer. So it's just being wise. Like that's what it is. It's just being wise with what we have. And listen, I would like a new midfielder. I would like a potential goalie, or a new keeper. But I also don't want to be freaking out and panicking after the first game when we played a team that's expected to win the Premier League, or who we're going to be battling against to try and get top 4. That's what it is. Yeah, we're in the end of it all, we're handcuffed. We can't do anything else. And yeah, I'm sorry, this is going to be a short episode and it's going to be a repeat. But yeah, it's basically it. Like, what can we do? Like, again, the debt is still killing us. We have players here that were signed by the Glazers. And I know I've expressed some opinions on Ineos and everything. And I'm going to be toning it down because in the end, they're here to clean up a mess that has been going on for years. Just the way this, like technically decades, because now it's been 2 decades since the Glazers have owned us. But they're here to clean up a mess and try to make it. And like their job is to try and make this a sustainable team, get things back on the books. I know I've seen a lot of new sponsorships that have just come through, so they're bringing money into the club. They've put money into the club. We have not seen the Glazers put in a single cent. And I think I said it yesterday, and I know I said it on my X account. With these players that you're having difficulty trying to move, like for example, Sancho, who is probably aiming to just play out his contract. How about we get the Glazers to open up their checkbook, say, here you go, Jayden. Here's the remainder of your year of the salary on us. Goodbye. And Ineos rips up the contract. It doesn't come off the books of Ineos. It comes off the books of the Glazers. That would be nice, right? Because they're the ones that allowed those deals. Isn't it Joel Glazer, that is on the board that approves the contracts? Am I wrong? Isn't that what's going on? Isn't that particular, like, he's approved those contracts. It even came out this year with the new setups and everything that he's still involved with the club. So all those contracts from prior to the Ineos, prior to Ten Hag, like again, Anthony was not Ten Hag's fault. If you know the story and everything, like, he wanted the players, but our recruitment team's the one that negotiated the fee, got him in, and paid those ridiculous transfers. It's the truth. But Ineos, like, it's their technically their third transfer window, but it's their second summer transfer. Last year they got some good pieces. Like, the only one that you would say the only two that you could say was a question mark was Xerxes, but we saw what he was able to do after what had happened when he got booed off. Ugarte is looking like the potential, not the best one there, but he's still a talented player. De Ligt has been fantastic. Mazraoui has been fantastic. The signing of Aiden Heaven, Cheeto Obi, Diego Leon, Patrick Dorgu, who's just signed in January. So you have those pieces there. They're doing the right thing by building young and preparing our academy. That's what they're doing. That's what they're working towards. And they're getting young players in to help us go forward and build. Again, they're aiming for 2028 to win the league. It would be great if we won it this year. Imagine. That's the part of it is, like, don't you just want us to win the league this year and just be like, to those players that didn't want to play for the badge, this is what you missed out on and this is what you could have had. For real. That's what could have been. But listen, we can keep talking and speculating about what these transfers, of what we want, what could happen. But right now, nothing's moving. Like I said in the middle of this podcast, like, we're such at a standstill that we're screwed. And I shouldn't say screwed. I say we're in a difficult situation that either we go up or we crash. Like, no, I shouldn't say crash either. We're again, like I said, we're at a standstill. We cannot do anything until we make money. And unfortunately, like I said earlier on, Hoyland is unfortunately, like McTominay last year, like Wan-Bissaka. Well, Wan-Bissaka was a little bit different, but there were casualties of where the club needed funds. We have to get get our books in order, and we need to get other targets. Like, we're not making money off of Rashford. We are, but we aren't. Like, his salary's off the books. It's great, but we didn't get a transfer deal or transfer fee from Barcelona for him. We didn't get any. We didn't get anything from them. So Sancho, I know that from what I'm hearing, 23 million euros. Everything's been set. Even AC Roma's willing to pay his salary, but it's the agent fee that's the problem. That's something there, and sometimes the agent fee is an issue. I guess with Xerxes last year, the agent fee was there. We won 50 million for Garnacho. Chelsea's willing to pay half of that. We had Byron on the table, and he chose away Byron. So Antony is still waiting on Real Betis. Saudi, I know they want him, but he's sold on one team. The team doesn't want him permanently. They just want him on a loan. They're not going to pay for him. These people that want clubs are not willing to put in the effort to think like what you think you are. The teams that want you don't want that effort. So, it's a standstill. We're right now, we don't know. We do not know what's going to happen. We just have to wait and see, and hopefully maybe tomorrow, maybe the next 5-6 hours, we have something, but we cannot do much at this time until we have players off the books. We have some funds available. So, like, again, as much as we said we got Cunha, that money was from last year. That money was on the books for last year. The other two deals have already been used up. So, like, I know Lemens has been talked about. Like, there's plenty of people that they've talked about bringing him on. I know I just saw a rumor of a Monaco player that could potentially be sold. They're seeing rumors. I wouldn't say rumors. I see a lot of fans, again, talking about players that are coming back. Could we use them in other positions? I think I saw something today. Someone mentioned Cunha. I saw something today on Twitter about saying when Leach comes back, would he be the potential option for that number 8 role? Whether it's Casemiro, him, Ugarte, maybe. I know he did play that type of position at Ajax before the injuries, and Ten Hag converted him to a center back. So it's again, in the end, it's a waiting game. That's where we are. We're at a standstill for transfers, and there's not much we can do. So unless we start selling other players that could potentially go. I know Xerxes, there's rumors of him in Napoli, but he's untouchable. He can't be moved. Diego Dalot, I know there's interest for him last year. He was just made as the group of captains for the squad, the group of leadership. So he wouldn't be going. Harry Maguire staying there. He's there. He's a good depth piece. We have Luke Shaw, Aiden Heaven, Fredrickson, Mazraoui's now returning. Licha should be returning in a couple months. So we have defenders. We have plenty of defenders. So rotation is going to be unique. Maybe you start having defenders go in different positions. What about Mazraoui at the 8? When you have Euro, Lit, and Shaw as your back, Shaw is probably going to be there. Shaw's fit and probably fits that there, but you have that there. You have that potential there. Wouldn't he fit that type of role? He's physical enough. He can cover. Wouldn't that be an issue? Or not an issue. Wouldn't that be an idea? Maybe. We had him play wing back. We've had him play there. Why not put him in that position at the D, at center D, at CDM in that 8? Bruno at the 8, or Bruno at the 6 at the pivot. Maz there. Maz can carry the ball too. Like he's able to move it there, and he's physical. but is he fit enough to be in that type of position? So, maybe that's a question I put out there, hypothetically. Licha or Maz? Could you put them there at that position, hypothetically, if we're in, because we're going to have depth for the back three. Like, let's say our back three that's starting for the season, if everything's going correctly. Yoro, De Ligt, Shaw. Your substitutes would be Maguire, Heaven. You have Fredrickson that can rotate, Licha, Mazraoui. So you have pieces there that can rotate in. Ooh, why not? Why not? Why can't you have that? If you're not using him, if you're using that back three and you need a certain piece, why not use that somewhere else? Use a player like Maz in there. Like, again, like rotation and movement, you could convert some players into certain positions. Like our attack is, like we have Sesko, Xerxes, and Cheeto there. Xerxes can play other places. You have Ahmad at the wingback. You have Dalot there. Diego Leon will be training more. Kone will be delayed a little bit. He does have a fracture due to the head collision that he had playing Tamsworth, which it was horrific to see. I'm happy that he's recovering. So he'll be delayed there. Obviously, Collier is off on loan, which that'll be huge for next year when he comes back and that experience and those minutes. So, yeah, I think I'll put that question up there. Maz or Licha, hypothetically, at CDM, like with the depth that we have for the back, why not put him there? He can play. They put him at wing. He can stretch. He can come back and forth, and we've seen him move the ball. Be interesting. It would be. It's an idea. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there for today's episode. I am going to be back Friday. I'm not going to be back tomorrow. As much as I said I was going to try to do 4 episodes in a row, I will be back Friday. Hopefully we have some good news over the next day. If anything breaks or anything, I might be back tomorrow. If we have that. I should have made that today's episode if something broke, but here I am recording. Tomorrow, no episode. So I will be back on Friday. Friday, yes. Tomorrow, unless something breaks. One correction I do want to make. I know when I was talking about the battle of the top, I know my counting wasn't the best. Obviously, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea as your top 4. Newcastle being your 5th. That we should be battling against. Obviously, I know when I looked back at the episodes, like trying to count, and I kept repeating one of the 4 as a 5th. But realistically, the top 5 that we're going to be battling against is going to be Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, and Newcastle. That's going to be the fight there for top 5. We're also going to be competing against with Aston Villa, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest. Hard to say, they should be improving, but again, Crystal Palace. But Crystal Palace just lost Eze. He's going to potential Arsenal with Kai Havertz out. Bournemouth is still there. So again, like I mentioned, the top 10 is the battle where it's going to be. So, but I'll leave that for other episodes to discuss. Just wanted to make that correction. But I will be back Friday. Enjoy your Thursday. Again, I'll be back potentially if there's something breaks tomorrow, but back Friday doing my preview for United versus Fulham. United are on the road. Fulham's home opener. So lots of question marks about trying to predict the squad for that game, especially with everything that's been going on. But yes, I'll see you guys Friday. Have yourself a good day. This is the Red Devils Corner Kick Podcast. Glory, glory, Man United.